Hello, everyone. My name is Seth, and today I'm going to give you my review of Shazam, Fury of the Gods. Shazam, Fury of the Gods came out March 17th and is directed by David F. Sandberg, and it stars Zachary Levi. And I'll go ahead and say right off the bat that I absolutely loved the first one, and I think I like this one just as much, maybe even a little bit more. But before I go any further, go ahead and like the video, hit subscribe, hit the bell icon so you can receive notifications when I upload my next video. First part of this review will be spoiler free. I will let you know whenever I dive into more spoilers, but just so you know, this first part will be spoiler free. I'll only talk about things that you've seen in the trailers. I would go ahead and say at the top of this to not worry about the low scores you see from critics on Rotten Tomatoes. Sometimes you can trust those, sometimes you can't. It's all up to the individual. Like for me, I like Batman vs. Superman. I like Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Those don't necessarily have the best scores on Rotten Tomatoes, but then you look at something like maybe Blade Runner. I know I'm probably the odd one out. I don't like the first Blade Runner, but I'm sure if you look at Rotten Tomatoes, it probably has a really high score. So it's all up to the individual, but I will say that you should not let the low scores scare you away from this. It didn't do as well as they were even projecting at the box office this last weekend, and that really is a shame because I really enjoyed this movie. It was a whole lot of fun. This is a good, fun time. There's nothing particularly unique, I guess I would say, about this movie. We've seen some of the stuff before. They're not bringing anything brand new to the superhero genre or to the action genre or anything like that. But what they are bringing is a really fun time. It has a lot of heart, it has a lot of humor, and all of the performances are great. Even if the writing isn't 100% up to as good as the performances are, still, it really works for me. Of course, mentioning the writing, I would say that some of this story is predictable. I could kind of see where this was going from like a mile away. And that's not always a bad thing. I think they did pull it off relatively well. But a knock on it would be that I would say it is predictable. I think David F. Sandberg did a really good job directing this. He got great performances out of all of the actors, anywhere from the adults to the kids who are in it. Everybody did a great job. And I really love some of the little horror elements that he sprinkled in. Mostly with some of the creature design and things like that. You can tell that he does have a horror background, and you can kind of gather that from some sequences from the first film. Story kind of picks up a few years after the first film, and it kind of shows the Shazam family all kind of working together, and I really love how they incorporated the Shazam family in this. I love the way that he directs the action. It is done really well. I think it does a good job of showcasing the powers of all of the characters. One thing I think is really cool about how they utilize the family is that they really all were supporting characters. They all have the powers of Shazam. They all have the ability to be like the main superhero inside of their own story, but they did such a good job of still focusing on Billy. You never for a moment forget that this is his movie, which I feel like kind of would have been easy to do with a lot of the other characters that's involved, especially characters, like I said, whose powers are really similar. So it would have been easy for them to kind of drift focus away from Billy, but he is at the center of this movie, and Zachary Levi is incredible. He just seems like somebody that I would like to hang out with. You know, he did such a good job in the first one, you know, really portraying like a big kid, you know, a kid in an adult's body with superpowers. That was so well done in the first one, and it continues over now. I love how you kind of get to see the evolution of that, though. You know, he's been Shazam for a little bit, and so he's trying to take on a little bit more responsibility, and it's just really cool to see. And Zachary Levi does such a great job. I cannot say that enough. Zachary Levi is amazing in this. He really is perfect as Shazam. I think they used the rest of the Shazam family really well, both in the superhero form and just as the normal kids. You get enough of both, but really all the kids were great. They were great in the last one. They're great in this one. I love to see more from them. I guess another sort of kind of negative is like, really, I wish there was more, but that's kind of a good thing. You know, it's not like I felt like they were missing from the film. It's just, I want more because I enjoyed it that much. Also want to give a shout out to Asher Angel, who plays Billy, the kid version, and to Jack Dylan Grazer, who plays Freddy. He does such a great job in this. I just believe his character. You know, he's just like the nerd who loves superheroes. He really is kind of like a stand-in for the audience, but he does such a great job. He has really good comedic timing. He really gets to show that off here, but he's really good in dramatic scenes too. There was a scene in the movie where it almost had me tear up a little bit that he was involved in. It was just great. Djimon Hounsou is awesome in this. He's awesome at everything. He does such a good job as the wizard. They give him a little bit more to work with in this one. He gets to show some of his comedic chops, and I really did enjoy seeing him in this role as the wizard again. The villains in this were played by Helen Mirren, Lucy Liu, and Rachel Zegler, and they all did a great job. But again, I think the writing around these characters might not have been the best. They haven't been given the most to do with these characters, but I think all three of them do such a good job with what they're given. Especially Helen Mirren. She's awesome, and I really did love Lucy Liu in this. I thought she did such a fantastic job, and again, with really the little that they were given script-wise. Now, they're not going to be your villains that you're going to remember like Thanos or anything like that, but they were serviceable. And I will say there also is a pretty cool cameo in this one. To wrap everything up, I really enjoyed this. It was so much fun. The action was great. It had so much heart, so much humor. Maybe the humor won't work for everybody, but it did work for me. I thought the direction was great. The cinematography was great. I mean, a couple of the shots gave me chills. I remember thinking, as I was watching it in the theater, like, wow, that shot is awesome. I would absolutely recommend you see this. I think it would be a fun film to go take your whole family to. It is just a lot of fun. I can't stress that enough. I would give it a 4 out of 5. This was 2 movies back to back, watching the theaters with this and then Scream, that I really enjoyed. And this March has been packed with stuff, and it has been good for the most part, I would say. It's been a great month for entertainment. So that's it. That's my non-spoiler thoughts on Shazam! Fury of the Gods. I'm going to go ahead and get into spoiler territory. If you have not seen this film and you want to, go ahead, pause the video, come back, and continue it from there. But we are about to talk about spoilers, just so we're clear. Now, getting into the spoilers, one of the things I really did like that kind of kept focus on Billy was that the staff from the first one that he broke at the end and allowed the 3 villains to come in to this realm. Once that's put back together, that can take away the powers. And because you kind of think, how are these three really going to stand up against the whole Shazam family? But I really like how kind of one by one, they end up picking them off until Billy's the last one. But even without doing that, I feel like they did such a good job of focusing on Billy. Now, one thing I didn't really want to mention in the non-spoiler part is that I really wish Asher Angel got a little bit more screen time. He really wasn't in it much at all. I was actually really surprised at how much Billy stayed in superhero form, which Zachary Levi's awesome. Like I said in the first part, he's amazing in this. I love Zachary Levi. I would love to hang out with him. He just seems like a nice guy. I was really surprised with how little Asher Angel was really in it, but he did a great job in the time that he was given. With these things, some of it was predictable. I think that with the villains was really predictable. I knew Rachel Zegler's character was going to turn out good. I had a really strong feeling that Helen Mirren's character was going to make a turn, and I had a really strong feeling that Lucy Liu's character was going to kind of take things a bit further and like be the main villain. And that dragon was really cool. You see it in the trailers, but that dragon had such a cool design. Now, some of the shots I said that gave me chills was some of that at the end where they shrunk the bubble and it's just Lucy Liu's character, the dragon, and Shazam there. He's kind of making that like electricity ball that kind of was like in his room earlier in the film. And some of those shots with him with the staff, with the emblem glowing, the lightning going on behind him, with the it being at night, that's one of the shots that absolutely gave me chills. I really like that final sequence. I thought it was done really well. And the cameo I mentioned is Gal Gadot playing Wonder Woman. It's kind of unfortunate. It seems like this might be her last time playing Wonder Woman, but it was really cool. I liked kind of the fake out there at the beginning in his dream where, you know, he was talking with Wonder Woman and then she turns around and it's Djimon Hounsou's face on Wonder Woman. That was probably kind of goofy, but it still got a laugh out from me. But it makes sense that Wonder Woman would be there. And so, yeah, maybe it's a kind of a cameo to have a cameo, but it still makes sense. So it's not just, you know, lazy fan service. First post-credit scene, those two from Peacemaker showing up, talking to Shazam about joining the Justice Society. And then the second is Mr. Mind talking to Dr. Sivana. And that's kind of makes me a little sad because it seems like we might not really get to follow through with that. But I really like kind of where they were pushing the story from here. If it doesn't do any better at the box office, and especially with the whole DC reset probably coming soon, I kind of feel like we're not going to get to follow up on that. And that's a little disappointing, but still, this film was awesome. I had so much fun. Again, if you're here and you're somehow watching the spoilers, if you haven't seen it, I still would recommend going to see it. I think it is absolutely worth your time to see on a big screen. So that's it from me. That's my review of Shazam, Fury of the Gods. Don't forget to like this video, hit subscribe, hit the bell icon so you can receive notifications when I upload my next video, and I'll see you next time.